Hey, so it's Pete Allen from Future Proof Skydiving. And today we're meeting up with David Doral for the second time. Some months ago, I met with David from Dovetail Aviation down in Sydney, Australia, because they had already been converting Cessna Caravans. They're working on converting a seaplane version of the Caravan. It just seemed like a no-brainer to get in touch and find out if they were interested in skydiving. Well, it seems they were. They were very interested, and along with the connection they already had in Scandinavia with Scandinavian seaplanes, after this interview, Skydive Voss showed an interest, and they all got together and made a plan. There was a conference and a press release on October the 22nd, confirming that they're going to be working together to bring an electrified version of the Cessna Caravan. And they're going to start flight trials as soon as 2026. So that's exciting news, and I'm going to hand over to David.
So look, also the connection was established with our first customer in Norway, Scandinavian Seaplanes, with a slightly different operation. These guys have been sending flights in the Norwegian fjords, and that relationship, and also this post and the promotion that you've done about our activity, I guess that attracted the interest of the Skydive Voss. And we've been in discussions with them for a while now, and likely they've unfortunately they've become our first Skydive customer in Europe. And right now I would say also in the world, although hopefully we'll have a bigger announcement to make in the near future with an Australian Skydive operator too.
Nice. Would you mind sharing the basic details of what you've agreed to do, the kind of aircraft you're working on, and the range, etc., of the proposed operation?
So I mean, some of that is still in the making, right? But the focus is going to be initially the Cessna Caravan, right? That is our starting point, and that is the aircraft that we're also looking for a Skydive retrofit here in Australia. Look, the kind of missions vary, depending on the needs of the customer. In this case, Skydive Voss, would be able to reach up to 13,000 feet. That would be a typical operation. I guess that depending on the altitude, the number of jumpers would be slightly lower or slightly higher, right? We're starting. I think that the first version could carry up to 12 jumpers, and then that will go up, right? The altitude could range. I would say that at least 8,000 feet. I mean, in some cases, we're hearing people that they're doing jumps as low as 5,000, 6,000 feet, right? The good thing of the Caravan is that it can reach 12,000, 13,000 and higher, right? The intention is to replicate as much as we can the conventional mission, right? If anything, there will be an initial reduction in the number of jumpers that we can carry. So we've heard people that or companies that carry up to 16, 17, 18 jumpers. That will be the starting point for us. It will be more in the low teens, right? And then take it from there. But other than that, it will be a similar operation, well, if not better, because it will be quieter. We're thinking about reducing the weight, the noise footprint of the aircraft in 10 decibels or more. So that will also help, to make the operation more sustainable. And that's actually one of the points that attracted the interest also of the Skydive Voss.
Yeah, I know they've been working very closely with the local community, and anything the drop zone can do to lessen the impact, whether it's through audio or energy, is definitely going to help.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost too good to be true to think that we can switch our current skydiving operation to an operation without some kind of changes. The first thing you mentioned was the reduction in numbers of people, but also currently we run multiple loads back to back to back to back, as you know. That's obviously not going to happen. Paint a bit of a picture how maybe the first steps could look, just so that we can give people a real idea of what they're expecting if they do intend to get involved with you or an electric operation.
Yeah, so if you want to carry as many jumpers as possible, and again, you need to accept that there will be a slight reduction in those numbers.
Yeah.
That will mean that you need to charge with every flight, right? So yeah, do not even several, but just 2 flights back to back, yeah, it won't be possible, right? Yeah, we need to recharge batteries. So and the idea is that yeah, depending on the length of the duration, the altitude of the flight, yeah, the charging time will be more or less. So for instance, if we were flying 20 minutes, and that would be a short jump, right? So we'll be charging for at least 15, right?
15.
So yeah. The idea is 1.5 the flying time, right? So we're flying 10 minutes, yeah, we're charging 15. We're flying 20 minutes, we'll be charging for 30, right?
Yeah.
So that's more or less the ballpark, figure, right? The rule of thumb, right? And that's something that yeah, operators will need to accept, right? And Skydive, operators and clubs, yeah, will need to accept, right? An alternative to that would be, well, if you're willing to carry, less jumpers, yeah, then in that case, we could increase the battery weight, and maybe we could do 2 flights in a row. But yeah, at the price of reducing significantly the number of people. So yeah, my guess is that yeah, we will do that. Yeah, we'll just simply keep the aircraft a little bit longer, to get charged, and then go up in the air again.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't think anyone would expect us to completely just shift one mission profile straight onto the
Yep.
e-aircraft. I mean,
Yep.
we are going to have to change the way our sport looks in the future in order to adapt to these restrictions. But it's a starting point. And the next thing, I guess, for you guys is the STC. How's that
Yep.
looking?
So I mean, we're still working with a similar time frame, right? Well, first we're gonna do the first flight next year. It is true that our first flight initially is going to be with a different version of the Caravan. So initially an aircraft on floats.
Yep.
We're working, towards doing that first flight with the land plane for a skydive, specific for a skydive soon after, right? Skydive Voss could be the first one, but yeah, that's part of the discussions that we're having, right? And as I said, yeah, we were having other discussions with skydiving operator here in Australia, right? But yeah, with the intention to certify in a couple of years from now, right? And it should be applicable to both, right? Because in the end, it's going to be the same baseline, the same aircraft.
Gotcha. And retrofitting other aircraft, it looked like there's some discussion about 182s,
Yes, and
206s.
the 206s. So look, that's an interesting prospect, right? We cannot confirm yet that we're gonna retrofit those aircraft, right? Right now we're in exploratory mode because I think that technically it's possible, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, there are some things that we need to address, yeah, in terms of some of the components that yeah, we need to integrate into that aircraft. The beauty is that, for instance, a key technology key or a key technology building block of a retrofit, also the 206, will be common for both aircraft. I'm talking about the battery system. So yeah, the battery modules that we're developing for the Caravan will be directly applicable to the 206, right? But there are other changes, right? But well, the other point is economics, right? From a point of view of market potential, right? And those are the things that yeah, we need to look into, because yeah, the case of the Caravan is something that yeah, we've done a lot of work on, and yeah, skydiving is one of the applications, but there are others. For instance, with the 206, that probably will be the first one that we'll look into. Yeah, we need to make sure that there's a powerful business case, right? So that's why I said that yeah, it's something that definitely now we're spending some time into that, and yeah, we're seeing that there's interest from different operators, and actually we've heard about that interest even here in Australia about converting a smaller aircraft. So that's part of the collaboration. Dig deeper and see whether it makes sense. And based on that, we'll make a decision.
Yeah, nice one. So throughout the world, there's different levels of skydiving operation. You've seen Skydive Voss now. You obviously comfortable with, what's happening in Australia. In the US, for example, there are drop zones that have multiple twin engine aircraft, like Twin Otters, and then also single engine Caravans. So that I can see why it could be useful, but obviously you're looking further into the future. I mean,
Yeah.
why skydiving for Dovetail? What is the attraction of getting involved with skydiving?
Look, it's a typical use case for electrification. I mean, you're mentioning before that yeah, drop zones will need to accept that there will be some changes in the sport, right? And that is even with a mission, a type of flight that is reduced. I mean, compared to a commercial operation. I mean, if you want to take a regional flight, yeah, usually, yeah, you may spend like, at least, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, in an aircraft, right? The beauty for us of skydiving is that they're typically short flights, and that is what the technology can do. So yeah, whenever we explain our business model, we typically speak about three use cases, introductory use cases for the technology. One is scenic flights, the other one is island hopping, and the third one, you could, that order, we could alter it, is skydiving, right? So for us, is first, it's a significant market all over the world. So yeah, the number of fleet dedicated to skydiving is significant across the globe. And yeah, it's something relatively easy for us. It's something that the technology can do, and that's why, yeah, we're using it as a way to introduce electrification in the market in the next 2 years.
Great. Well, I'm super grateful. I know the rest of the sport is, because as we discussed before, regulation is one thing, but I think public pressure on leisure aviation is going to start changing
Exactly.
the way the world looks. Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, David, you want to share from Dovetail?
Look, as I said, yeah, we're looking into other models. Yeah, we want to really, push hard, with the development of the technology and the adoption of the technology in different parts of the world. What I would say is that if there's any drop zone interested in what we're doing, both for the caravan or for the smaller aircraft, yeah, contact us, right? Yeah, for the caravan, it's a no-brainer, because that's what we're working on, and yeah, we'll be definitely, very keen on attracting additional partners and yeah, users. And for smaller aircraft, because yeah, more feedback, more input about those models, yeah, we'll support the case of going forward, right? As I said, yeah, we haven't made that decision. We're studying it, and yeah, the more interest that we get, from different parties, the more likely it will make the development of that variation or that new model. So yeah, definitely, anybody that may be seeing or hearing this, will be very keen on speaking with them.
Great, excellent, David. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and yeah, onwards and upwards with the project.
Indeed, thank you, Pete.
Any drop zone owners that are interested in getting in touch with David, I'll make sure there's a link to the website on the show notes.